friends, my name is Joey. Look what I just got in the mail like literally 10 minutes ago. I got my dollar bead box and my dollar bead bag for the month of October 2025. This is one of my personal favorites. This was, I think, my very first subscription bead box that I signed up for many moons ago, and bead boxes became a thing years before I ever even thought about being on YouTube. And way back then it wasn't even curated, but look at this deliciousness. Now it is a sampler of check beads and findings and glass and a little bit of metal, a little bit of everything, but now it is curated so that everything goes together. I can't wait to share with you what's in here, but I'm going to do two little projects in today's video that are going to be playing with bead geometry, and I'm going to come back in another video with a really cool necklace. And what made me think of it is the split rings, that we got a pack of split rings in this box. And I worked for a jeweler when I was a teenager, and way back then charms, charm bracelets, charm necklaces were a big thing, and we would always attach our charms with these split rings because they're more secure than a regular jump ring. And that triggered an idea for a charm necklace, and part of that is also because I don't want to separate these beads. They're so gorgeous together. Like individually, of course, they're lovely, but together the impact and the autumn spice, and I just see like cocoa and coffee and marshmallows and cozy sweater weather. That's what I see in these beads. So I'm going to start out with the dollar bead box. These 8 strands here are the add-on dollar bead bag, and I do have a discount code if you are interested in getting this, and you can add this subscription on to your dollar bead box for only $8 a month. It's such a great deal. And I'm just gonna, before I start, I'm just gonna tell you guys, if you're newer, for my American viewers, you will be familiar with a sort of a price club. But if you don't want to subscribe to the box and commit to a monthly, box and a monthly payment, you can pay an annual fee. My discount code also works off of that annual fee as well. And then you can shop the website as much as you want, and everything is $1 on the website. But if you're a subscriber to the box and or bag, you can you're a member, and then being a subscriber also affords you the opportunity to go back and shop. So like, I love these. I will be back on the website getting a strand or two more of these for $1 a strand. So it is such a great value. And I started to say, for my American viewers, we have price clubs like Sam's and Costco and BJ's Wholesale Warehouse. We have those things here. I'd love to hear in the comments from my friends in other countries if that exists for you guys, but here it's a thing. And so this bead company is sort of like that, and the quality is amazing. It's check glass, and they have some gemstones on the website. It is one of my favorite sources for check glass buttons. They're $1. I mean, they're just amazing. They have a few things that are more than $1, but not very much, and it's just an amazing website. Okay, my first bead strand is one of my favorite things in the box, although I'm going to say that 1,000 times because I love everything in this box. This is a 6mm check fire polish, and look at this color, you guys, rose gold luster. In Joey land, that is perfection. We got a strand of 7x10mm check glass tulips. They are opaque white with a copper wash. These are so gorgeous. They are very sweet little flowers. I can never have enough check glass flowers. My favorite bicone is the Lucerna bicone. This is medium brown. It's a 6mm bead. I love it. Unlike crystal bicones, it has all the angles of a bicone, but it's very soft. So if you make anything with these bicones that goes against your skin, you don't have any sharp, scratchy edges. I love that. This is one of my favorite things as well in the box. This is a 4mm check glass druck. If you're newer to beads, a druck is a smooth round. No table cutting, no faceting, no fluting. It's just really soft and smooth. And there are two possibilities that you would have either gotten the multi-metallic mix or an opaque red Vega luster. And I believe I got the opaque red Vega luster. I'm pretty sure that's what I got. Whatever I got, I don't have the other one to compare, but I love that bead. And this is a gem cut rondelle, a 3x5 millimeter. There's 25 pieces here in burnt umber. And this is one of the things that check beads, that comes in check beads that looks like a gemstone because of the way that it's cut, even though it's glass. So beautiful. And then when I saw this just reminded me of cocoa, a cup of cocoa with marshmallows, or, you know, a cup of coffee with a lot of cream in it. That's what it reminded me of. These are check glass olive beads, and they're kind of small ones. They're 5x11 millimeter, and it's brown and white, and there's 12 pieces here. Olive beads are one of my favorite shapes because I love how elongated they are. And so that is the strands for the dollar bead box. And then the items, the additional items, we got some 8 millimeter check glass cherry flowers in burnt copper. I love those. I mean, I have a whole bin in my organizing just for flowers, because check glass flowers is just something I never destash. I just keep getting a larger bin. And then we got 2 of these adorable brass keys. They're so filigree and fancy, and I just love them. And this is something that I absolutely love. I have ordered these from the website. This is a check glass pillow bead, and it's an acid etched volcano. And what I love these for is to string with Baroque pearls. This makes an absolutely stunning, like, focal bead or accent bead in a Baroque pearl, where the pearls are all unusual shapes and organic and misshapen. So I love, love, love that. In fact, I'm going to jump over here to this mix. I'll get to it, but there's one of these check glass beads in the mix, which I also love this bead to go with Baroque pearls. It just is beautiful. And even like doing these together with the Baroque pearls, it just makes a very contemporary kind of modern art. I see like museum shape jewelry. I love it. So I just popped over to that. And then there are these gorgeous little spirals, little pewter spirals. They're in an antique copper. We got 4 pieces. These are so sweet. Literally, when I look at this, I think, why don't you just put an ear wire on it and have this really cute everyday earring? They're and also these are wonderful if you're like me and you put love extender chains on your jewelry. But I can't stand a link, the final link on an extender chain. I can't stand to leave it empty. Plenty of people like it that way, and jewelry in the marketplace comes with just a blank link for the extender chain, but I always have to put something, and this would be so sweet for just the final little bit on the end of an extender chain. I love those. And then we got some howlite beads here in white. There's 6 pieces here, just little round howlite beads. Again, marshmallows. I see marshmallows or coffee creamer, like all the yummy things this time of year. And then we got this gorgeous check glass wild rose. Of course, I've seen this, and I have this in several colors, but this one is opaque brown with a cranberry wash. So it is like, I don't have this color, and it's very rich, and you see how detailed the embossing is in the glass. It's amazing. And this is going to be one of my projects because it's one of my favorite beads in this box. These are check glass fire polished beads in chrysolite with a copper wash. And there's 8 pieces here. So for the project I'm going to do, you need 8 beads. So if you have a favorite bead, that you might love this project. And this is one of my favorite beads in this box. This is so autumnal. It's just perfect for the autumn. And I love, love, love these little banjo charms in antique copper. And again, you know, we got the split rings here that came in the box. So if you're interested in making a charm bracelet or a charm necklace, this is a very secure way to add your charms to your chains and things. So such a good combination. And then this is one of my favorite check glass colorways and one of my favorite spacer beads. This is the Aztec gold. So it's not a metallic gold. It's a very soft, like muted kind of old world gold. And this is a little tiny druck in 3mm, and there's 50 pieces here. So this is just amazing as a spacer bead, but if you do any needle and thread work, this little 3mm round can make almost anything that you're doing with needle and thread just absolutely look delicious. In fact, I have a project in mind for those, so you will see those reappearing. We got a gorgeous heart and key charm set in antique bronze. Now they're calling it a charm set, and it totally could be. You can put your jump rings through, but you can also, this is also a toggle. This fits through here, so this can also be a toggle set for a bracelet. If I were to use this for a charm, I would probably use my old cutters and remove this loop and put my jump ring right through the heart. And I may, in my necklace that I'm going to come back in another video, I may actually use them as charms instead of a toggle. And then the check glass mate metallic mix is in bronze iris. There's 20 grams here. There's little bibo beads. There's this gorgeous bicone bead. There's these cylinder beads, which I'll go ahead and take them out because I said geometry in my projects, and these cylinders are going to be part of that. And there are some gorgeous dagger beads, and look at the color mix. It's in that Aztec gold. It's a very matte, like matte metallic. I just think it's such a beautiful color combination. There's little spike beads in here, and I absolutely love the little cubes in this mix. So gorgeous. Okay, that is the dollar bead box for October 2025, and these 8 strands are the dollar bead bag. So in the dollar bead bag, the add-on subscription, you get 8 strands every month, and 4 of them will be 3mm strands, and 4 of them will be 4mm strands. And one of the things, I mean, this just excites me. I love check glass faceted rounds. They're fire polished. They're absolutely amazing. In my 3mm strand, there are, in the first one, it will either be white rose gold or crystal copper, and I'm pretty sure that I got the crystal copper. And look at the sparkle. That is absolutely a gorgeous check glass bead. And the next 3mm strand, you would either get olive vitriol pink or gold metallic iris, and it looks like I got the olive vitriol pink. I think that's what I got. I see a lot of olive in the bead, so I think that's what I got. And the next strand, you would either have gotten pumpkin spice or matte topaz. And to be honest, I'm not sure which one I have, but I'm thinking it's pumpkin spice. I've seen the matte topaz, and I think it's closer to that color without the sparkle. So I think this is pumpkin spice. And then I love this strand so much. You would have either gotten crystal ruby luster or matte red sangria, and I'm pretty sure I got the matte red sangria. How cool is that? I love that bead. And then in the 4mm strands, there were 2 possibilities, matte warm copper or matte copper, and for sure this is the warm copper. It's much deeper and richer than their regular copper that the check beads come in. So I love getting that. And the next strand, you would have either gotten iced latte or burnt sienna. And I think I got, oh no, I have this mixed up because this is neither one of those. I did mix them up. Okay, that's going to be the next one. Iced latte or burnt sienna. I'm pretty sure I got the burnt sienna. Look at that bead. That's also one of my favorite beads in the box. Then this one. This is the tangerine lumi. You could have also gotten topaz luster, but I'm pretty sure this is the tangerine lumi. And my last strand is coral vintage bronze. Isn't that gorgeous? It's so chocolatey. It looks like toffee or chocolate and toffee, or coffee that doesn't have very much cream in it. It's so amazing. These colors, I just have to show you this in my hand. Look at this. When I get my check glass add-on dollar bead bag, that is so inspiring and thrilling. So I am going to do a pretty quick project for today, but I will be back with I'm going to do 2 quick projects, but I'll be back with a much bigger project, and I'm going to just pick one of these for my first earrings. And what is it going to be? This is the problem. I love them all so much. But I think, let me see, I'm going to be using these cylinder beads. I think I'm going to do that warm copper. Okay, let me clean up a little bit. I'm also going to be using these 8 beads here. Let me just clean up a little bit and I'll be right back. Okay, I did a sample of each earring. This is the square one, and you can't really see from this camera angle, but these are so dangly. It's like a movable square. So you need 4 beads for each earring and 5 little links of scrap chain, and I made my own ear wires. So that's my square pair, and this is the triangular pair. This is a little check glass faceted copper round triangle with a cylinder bead on top, and I even made triangular ear wires for this. I showed you guys how I do my ear wires in a very recent video, so I'll link that because I had these already made from that video. So those are my 2 geometric earrings. We'll start with, they're both so easy. They're both super easy. I'm going to start with a piece of my soft flex wire in 20 gauge. I love my 1-step looper. When I have to make earring components, I get them done so quickly and effortlessly. All my holes are the same size. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 4 components. I just keep my tool in my hand, pop my bead on my wire, and get my wire through the guide hole for this side and close, pull my bead away from the tool. I'm not going to worry about work hardening or tidying up my loops at all at this point, because when I connect, I will have to open and close all of these loops again, and that's when I will check to make sure they are perfectly closed. I am so much faster with this tool at making simple loops than I am with my pliers, and I have a really terrible problem in my hand, and this tool really keeps me from having pain in my hand. Whatever movement I tend to do with my wire when I'm making loops and things sometimes will really flare up a lot of pain. But I can make a whole beaded chain with this tool just like this, fast and easy, and my hand doesn't hurt. I do them sometimes with my pliers by hand as well, but and it's a quirky little tool, especially depending on the bead shape that you're putting in the tool. You know, it is a quirky little tool, but I still love it. It's still a great tool for me. Okay, those are done, and I am simply going to connect all of these. So I'm just going to open one loop, and the one that I'm adding in, so I will check every single one of my loops, just make sure it's perfectly closed and work hardened, and I'm going to attach all 4 of these to start off with. So to start off with, it looks like a chain. Okay, I'm on my last one that I'm going to connect, and before I connect it, I want to take my 5 links of chain, and you could do a longer chain if you want to see more chain, but this is my brass e-coated chain from Purity Beads, and I have these little scraps that I save, but you need an odd number. So if you want it, you need 7 or 9, because your ear wire goes on that odd number in the middle. So I'm going to attach that at the top of my loop, and then I'm going to come in here with my chain and attach it at the bottom of my loop, and then I'm going to close that really well. And now I'm going to open this loop on this side just like that, and I'm going to attach my chain at the top of this loop. That second side is a little tricky. And so it's in and it's at the top of the loop. Let me get my fingers out of the way. And then I'm going to bring this around and attach my last component, not twisted. Get it in there. It's in. I just have to get my plier in there and close the loop with the chain and everything in there and work harden. And so that little square is connected, and I'm going to come with my handmade ear wire. I do these so that my opening is on the inside, so when I look at the front of my earring, it's seamless. And I'm going to attach this, the middle link, the 5th link, get it untangled. Going to get that 5th link on my ear wire loop and close the loop. Work hard in it, make sure it's straight. The earring hang like a square, and you know, I used very, very dainty chain, but if you wanted to use bigger chain, if you wanted to use more chain, you could, but I wanted to see a square of beads. So that little pair is done, and they are so cute. This is my style of earring. I will wear those a lot. That is like the perfect autumn earring. Okay, the triangular one, I'm going to be using my Soft Flex craft wire, and I am using 24 gauge. I wish it was 24 karat. I'm going to take like 12 to 13 inches. That's more than I'll need, but I'm going to start off with a little bit of a generous amount. And I really think you could do 20, this is 24 gauge. You could do 26. You might even be able to do this with 20 gauge, but I wanted to not struggle to form my triangle. And it's an earring. It's not going to get any stress on it. So I have some 11.0 gold seed beads out here. So my little pattern is a copper check glass round, a seed bead, a copper check glass round, a seed bead, and a copper check glass round. So whatever beads you want to do for this one, you need 9 of them. And that is the bottom of my triangle. So you can do this with your pliers. It's very fine gauge wire. You can even do your fingernail in there, but get a nice sharp, a nice sharp bend to the wire. And I'm going to come to this side and do the same thing. I don't normally use my fingernails for tools, but with this very fine wire, it is no problem. Sometimes with the edge of your plier, you get a little sharper angle. So I just want to start off my triangle. I'm going to push that into the bottom edge of my triangle. And then I'm going to string that same pattern again, starting with a check glass round seed bead up one side, and then do the other side the same. Okay, so I've pretty much already formed my triangle. You can hand sculpt this because it's such fine gauge wire. And I'm just going to take my pliers and grab both of those wires and direction them both up. Get in here this way. Just grab a hold of both of those wires, and now you can like really fix your triangle. And then I'm going to take one of my wires, doesn't matter which one, and I'm going to do a couple of wraps and direction this wire straight up. And I do want to do a couple of wraps, and I'll show you. I have this, I just got this. It is a really cool little mix of spacer beads. It's a mix of large hole, small hole discs. And so I chose 2 beads out of that mix. This is the one, this little chunky disc with a large hole that is going to cover these wraps. So I want to make the wraps here. I'm going to squish this down a little bit, but I want to make the wraps here a little bit chunky just to fill up the space inside that spacer bead. Not too chunky, but because I want them to hide inside. but I had to unwrap my other one a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and snip that wire and just make sure everything is tucked really well, and make sure I have a good triangular shape, and then pop that bead on perfect. So it just covers up the wraps. So that's that gives me like a nice transition from the triangle to the cylinder bead. And then I'm going to pop on another little flat disc from that mix, just like that. And I cut open those gorgeous drucks just for a little dot at the top. I love the geometry of the cylinder, the triangle, this kind of tubular, and then a dot of round at the top. It's very geometric, and I just love it. Okay, so now I'm going to do a wire wrapped loop here, a very neat one. I'm pushing everything down, and these beads here have a profile that's thinner. What I'm making, the front is a little bit wider, and so that's the one I want to be facing forward, and I'm giving that a 90-degree bend, and I'm going to use my small round nose pliers and do a fairly small wrapped loop in here. So over the top barrel, rotate, bring this wire around, and I just want to center my loop perfectly on my beads, just like that. And then I am going to wrap right down to my beads, one coil going right beneath the previous one, even though it's fine gauge wire. And when I get down to my beads, before I secure everything, I'm just going to make sure that everything is sitting the way that I want and get my final wrap in there. And trim and tuck. That is a jewelry maker's mantra, trim and tuck. Just be really careful not to put any stress on my tiny little druck at the top. Give everything a final straighten. Look at that. So you can hand sculpt, like if in the wrapping, if your triangle got a little misshapen, mine looks great, but when you wrap down to the top of your bead, you kind of secure everything, and it really firms up that wire even though it's very fine gauge. And then I have these fun triangular shaped ear wires that I made, and I'm just going to open that and add my triangle, and two really fun, fast, and yet stunning pairs of earrings are done. I have to tell you, like, it is one of the things I love about being a jewelry maker is that I can dress up my t-shirts. I can wear my tops that I wore 50 times last season and feel fresh and new with my own jewelry creations. So as I explained earlier, you guys, don't forget to open the description box under this video for links to the dollar bead box, the dollar bead bag, my discount code, and I would so greatly appreciate if you would take 1 second to give my video a thumbs up. And if the brand new feature to hype my video appears for you when you're watching, please do that. It really helps support my channel, and it, tells the YouTube algorithm to push this video out to a wider audience, and it just helps so much when you're working so hard to get that little boost. So I thank you so much for doing that if you can, and I will see you guys in the next video. I will be back with a necklace video with this box. I'm really excited about that design too. See you in the next video.